The story of the Tower of Babel is found in Genesis 11:1-9. It begins after the flood, when all people on earth spoke a single language. They settled in a plain in Shinar and decided to build a city with a tower reaching the heavens. Their intention was to make a name for themselves and avoid being scattered across the earth. This project symbolized humanity's pride and self-reliance, as they sought to glorify themselves instead of God. Seeing their actions, God recognized the dangers of their unity being misused for self-centered purposes. To stop their plans, He confused their language, making it impossible for them to understand one another. This led to their abandonment of the project, and they were scattered across the earth. The city was called Babel because God confused the language of all the earth there. This story explains the origin of diverse languages and serves as a reminder of humanity's limits and the importance of humility before God. The story of the Tower of Babel is a fascinating and deeply symbolic narrative that resonates powerfully with our modern world. In Genesis 11, we read about humanity's ambitious attempt to build a city and a tower that reaches to the heavens. It was a project fueled by human pride, a desire for self-sufficiency, and a determination to create a name for themselves apart from God. But God intervened, confusing their language and scattering them across the earth. This story begins with people united in language and purpose, but their focus is misplaced. They decide to build a tower as a symbol of their own greatness, aiming to make a name for themselves rather than glorifying God. In today's world, we see echoes of this mindset everywhere. Our society often elevates individual achievement, power, and recognition above humility, service, and dependence on God. Social media is a modern-day Tower of Babel, a place where people build platforms to showcase their lives, craft images of success, and chase likes and followers. But just like the tower, this pursuit often leads to emptiness, division, and a lack of true connection. The people at Babel sought security in their own achievements. They wanted to create a centralized city where they could settle and avoid being scattered. Isn't that what we often do? We try to build lives that give us a sense of control, creating financial stability, career success, or personal comfort. But just like in Babel, when we try to do this without God, it ultimately crumbles. The lesson here is not that ambition or unity is wrong. It's that these things become dangerous when they are pursued apart from God's purpose. When God confuses the language of the people and scatters them, it's not an act of cruelty. It's an act of mercy. Left unchecked, their pride and self-reliance would have led to even greater destruction. By scattering them, God forces them to recognize their limits and reminds them that true unity and purpose come only through Him. This scattering is a reminder that God's plans are bigger than our own. In a world where divisions, cultural, political, or ideological, are so prevalent, we're reminded that unity under God's guidance is the only way to heal and thrive. Think about how often communication breaks down in today's world. We have more ways to communicate than ever before, yet we seem more divided. Whether it's through online arguments, political polarization, or cultural misunderstandings, the confusion of Babel is alive and well. But there's hope. The gospel reverses Babel. In Acts 2, during Pentecost, the Holy Spirit allows people of different languages to understand one another, uniting them in the message of Jesus. This shows us that where sin divides, God's Spirit brings reconciliation and understanding. The Tower of Babel also challenges us to reflect on the foundation we're building our lives upon. Are we building on the shifting sands of pride, materialism, or self-sufficiency, or on the solid rock of God's truth? In a world obsessed with achievement, this story reminds us that true greatness comes not from what we build for ourselves, but from surrendering to God's will and allowing Him to guide our lives. For those feeling lost or overwhelmed in today's fast-paced, divided world, the story of Babel offers both a warning and an invitation. It warns against the dangers of pride and self-reliance, but it also invites us to rediscover our purpose in God. When we align our ambitions with His plans, we find meaning, peace, and connection. This ancient story isn't just about a tower or a scattering of people. It's about the human condition. It's about the timeless struggle between self-will and God's will, between division and unity, between pride and humility. The good news is that God didn't abandon humanity at Babel, and He doesn't abandon us today. He continues to call us back to Him, offering redemption, guidance, and a purpose far greater than anything we could achieve on our own. The Tower of Babel speaks directly to the heart of a modern world that often feels divided, disoriented, and disconnected from its Creator. It's a call to humility, a reminder of our dependence on God, and a beacon of hope that, through Him, we can find unity, purpose, and true fulfillment.